Hey folks, today is Friday, November 17th, 2017. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, here to talk about video game stuff that has been going on. And it's been a week. Can we say that? It's been nuts. So let's just get right into it. The topic on everybody's lips is Battlefront 2. Now, we put out a before you buy, you can know exactly how I feel about it. People have been very riled up, rightfully, for the amount of microtransactions and loot boxes that dominate the game, and the fact that the game is pay to win, technically. The fact that it kind of seems like it's more monetized and more overkill than ever has really kind of riled up everyone around this game. Everyone from every corner of the internet has fundamental issues with the way this game is designed, and EA has finally responded right before the game actually gets its full release date on Friday, today. The general manager of DICE has put out a statement and announced, "As we approach the worldwide launch, it's clear that many of you feel there are still challenges in the design. We've heard the concerns about potentially giving players unfair advantages, and we've heard that this is overshadowing an otherwise great game. This was never our intention. Sorry we didn't get this right. We hear you loud and clear, so we're turning off all in-game purchases. This means that the option to purchase crystals in the game is now offline, and all progression will be earned through gameplay. The ability to purchase crystals in-game will become available at a later date, only after we've made changes to the game." So I guess on one hand you could say EA is trying. They released this statement, they also came out and did a Reddit AMA, which they got eviscerated, and they kind of tiptoed around a lot of the harder questions, but it's just the situation right now that's really unfortunate. That is the news as it stands. There will be a link in the description down below if you want to read more, but now this is my personal opinion, and for me personally, I think this is kind of a half step. It shows that they are paying attention, and it shows that everybody's protests did actually mean something. They were heard, but this taking away the paid currency temporarily isn't enough. While I do personally feel a little bit better about the game now, this is kind of like a no-win situation, because no matter what I say, no matter how you feel, and no matter how EA feels, we're all going to get eviscerated by one another because everybody's really hot on this stuff. But I think by them temporarily taking away the microtransactions, number one, means that they're just going to put it back in once people buy the game and then everything's back to normal. But number two, it doesn't stop the fact that the actual core progression and design around the game revolves completely around opening loot boxes and all the microtransaction stuff. Now, whether or not you pay with them in real currency is one thing, but the fact that it's designed that way still just makes it not that fun. And that just hurts for me as a Star Wars fan to say, but that's just kind of the state of things right now with everything, and this seems to be constantly changing. So we will keep you guys updated on more videos and Friday shows and stuff. And briefly, this episode is brought to you by Lineage 2 Revolution. It's a mobile game for iOS and Android, but it's running on Unreal Engine 4. With console quality graphics, a pretty huge open world to explore, and massive real-time battles, it's an ambitious mobile MMORPG. It's available right now, so you can download it from the link in the description, create your own character, and get playing. But since we are on the topic of EA, one of the biggest stories that we covered on the Friday show a couple weeks ago that people were freaking out about was when EA purchased Respawn, the makers of Titanfall. A lot of people have expressed concerns about this future of Titanfall and Titanfall 3 potentially, and a Star Wars game that they will be working on, and whether or not it will fall prey to EA's much maligned practices. We honestly will not know for sure until we get Respawn's next game in our hands, but we do have Vince Zampella going on record saying some pretty interesting things. The mind behind Call of Duty and the CEO of Respawn said, "It's always a balance. You have to worry about security and foundation of the company, how you get to do new games while still maintaining old games. But I'm not worried. I think the creative freedom is still here. So we get the best of both worlds. We have to collaborate well together, and that doesn't change. My message is we are still Respawn, and we are going to make the same games we did before, and hopefully better." This goes both ways, because Zampella has went on the record and said some pretty cool shit sometimes. He seems to keep it really real, but on the flip side, this kind of reads to me like marketing speak. I don't know. What do you guys think? But on a new topic, we didn't talk about it before, but a lot of people were talking with Battlefront and speculating how much influence Disney actually had in some of the decisions behind the game, seeing as how Disney CEO Bob Iger did call EA. That's a real report that happened. I think that is worth acknowledging, but what I want to talk about here is the fact that Disney actually has shut down Marvel Heroes, which I think is actually a bummer. I'm not the biggest fan of the game, but I have a lot of friends that play it pretty obsessively still to this day. In an email, a Disney Marvel executive wrote, "We regret to inform our Marvel Heroes fans that we have ended our relationship with Gazillion Entertainment and that Marvel Heroes games will be shut down." So that's a shame. It's an end of an era, and it looks like the game is going to be completely ending on December 31st, 2017. So get in while you can. It looks like they made everything completely free and available, so go for it. But in one more Disney, Star Wars, EA story, we gotta move on because there's so many other things to talk about. It looks like StarCraft has actually went all in on Battlefront, and it's pretty entertaining to watch. First things first, for them campaigning for StarCraft 2 going free to play, they put out a bunch of tweets basically directly firing shots at Battlefront. Basically with tweets making fun of the amount of hours you have to grind to get things in Battlefront compared to StarCraft 2. And not only that, they also released a video ad that's pretty hilarious and kind of just pokes fun at free-to-play elements. People have a lot of bad things to say about the video game industry and just how things go down, but I do think it's interesting because it's one of the only places where we see brands fight each other like this. It's crazy. And it's really funny, especially considering Activision Blizzard is no stranger to some predatory monetization practices, but that's a whole nother story. But in a lighter and more hilarious note, we have to talk about this pro Tekken player who basically wiped the floor with a hacker. This is so good. The world famous Tekken competitor Jaimin Ni Bai was playing Tekken 7 on a live broadcast when he got into a battle with a player who was basically using a character hack. This is an unfair cheat that essentially allows you to play as boss characters used during the single player tournament matches, which they are fighting game bosses, so they are of course completely overpowered. So in this case, he squared up against this cheater who was playing as Devil Kazumi, which on paper is completely unfair. Now the stream is really interesting to watch because it took a second for him to get his footing, but then he beat this cheater really, really well. And then they got into another match and he started kicking this cheater's ass so good that the cheater just quit in the middle of a match. That is so good. You know, because online fighting game cheaters out there can have fun and it's all well and good until you get your ass beat to the point that you rage quit when you had an actual advantage in the first place. That is classic. And on the topic of Tekken 7, I don't know if you guys caught this, but they announced that Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 is going to be a playable character in the game. They put out this whole crazy trailer. You can see all his moves. And I gotta say, I'm actually pretty into this. I also have had the Final Fantasy 15 battle theme stuck in my head again since I saw this trailer. I finally got it out of my head and now it's stuck in it again. But if you're looking for an interesting read, I included a link below to a story speaking to some university professors who study child behavior and brain therapy. And essentially it speaks to a couple of experts and breaks down how video games aren't so bad for kids. It's not as argued as like video game violence and stuff, but there's always been that stigma out there that video games rot kids' brains. And it seems like that's not the case, at least for a lot of researchers. According to them, it's actually better than just sitting in front of a television because with video games, you're actively playing, using your motor skills, engaging your mind and thinking. And for younger kids, that's essentially stimulating development and growth. I'm not like a brain scientist or whatever. I included a link below. I think you should check it out because it's pretty interesting. And it's just nice to read a good thing about video games sometimes. One last thing worth pointing out I saw just before we started shooting, it looks like Naughty Dog is going to be celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Uncharted series. First of all, I can't believe it's 10 years. Holy shit, I'm old. But there's actually a really good trailer that kind of just is like a montage of moments from the series. Made me tear up a little bit, not gonna lie. Besides that, they're also releasing a couple digital goodies and stuff like that, but I really just like the way this little trailer was cut, that's all. Now we gotta do that free console giveaway we do every single week. You know how it works by now. There's a link in the description below. You click it, you sign up, you enter once, and you're entered for good, and then every single week, we go in and randomly choose one person to win a free console of their choice. And this week's winner is gonna be this person right here. Congratulations. Be sure to keep an eye on your inbox, your spam box, because we're going to be getting in touch with you to figure out how to send you your sweet shit. But that's about it this week, just because we got to go back to the drawing board and finish working on this set and work on some more videos. If you do want to check out more, we do have them before you buy on Battlefront 2, which I did put up before they added the change. It doesn't change how I completely feel, but if you want more, I do go in depth on my other channel, youtube.com/becausevideogames. Go check it out. But we have to talk about all the stuff going on this week. I know the comments are going to be a shit show with this whole Battlefront thing, but let's talk about it. Does it change the way you feel? Does taking away the microtransactions temporarily show a step in the right direction, or is it still not enough? And on the topic of EA, do you really think Respawn can maintain its integrity working with EA now that they're owned by them? And like this Tekken competitor, have you ever squared up against a cheater online and completely destroyed them? Have you ever pushed anybody to rage quit? If you got any examples or stories like that, let's talk. I want to hear anything you guys got down in the comments below. I'll be down there as much as possible, but if you got anything else for me, you know where to find me by now. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino. But as always, thank you guys so much for coming around. You know, clicking the like button does help us out. And if you're new, you should subscribe because we put out videos every single day on gameranx. So as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Pizza's on me. So we got this today.
What you got, boys?
This is Adult Swim sent us an easy bake oven. For, I guess, for Battle Chef? What the fuck? Okay.
Battle Chef Brigade.
All right. I have an idea.
Oh, then we don't bake. We don't have
Stuff?
we don't need any. We don't have any.
We have all this.
What do we need?
We need cooking spray.
What? What's the point of an easy bake oven?
All right, we got it.
Wait a minute. We don't have to use any of that
Make
stuff.
the dough.
Every 5 minutes.
I feel like it should be thicker than that.
It should be. I put too much water in. Roll that into a ball.
That's actually pretty good.
That's actually not bad.
You like that? You like that
Yeah.
technique? Oh, this is horrible.
Push the pan tool until. What do I do?
You stand there and look pretty.
It doesn't look anywhere near as bad as I thought it would.
It's not good.